Hello everyone, we're going to do the 5.2.2 classwork today. And the first thing I'd like you to do after you put your title on the paper is write down this X and Y chart. It says G of X, but we know that that is interpreted the same thing as a Y value. So what we're going to do is answer, I think, 2 of the questions on the classwork for 5.2.2. So I have my ebook out and ready to go. It says, what is a logarithm? So this is a very, well, it's a new concept, but it's tricky. And we're going to take it slow, but just kind of introduce today, like, what is the idea behind a logarithm? And I'm going to walk you through the classwork since I think it's kind of, it's a difficult lesson. So after you write down the chart, I did mine going vertically, but in the book, it's going across the paper horizontally, so it doesn't matter either way. And what we need to do is fill out the missing values. Okay, so we are not given an equation. We are only given these X values, which are your inputs, and we're only given a couple of the outputs, so we have to see if we can piece it and go backwards. To figure out the remaining values and eventually figure out the equation. All right, so once you have your chart, let's see what we can come up with. So for the first one, if you input X, you get a 3. So that's kind of weird because it goes down. But it goes down to a weird number, 3. So it's not like it was like divided by 2 or anything. All right, so that doesn't really help, so we kind of have to keep going down to these other ones. Even 64, okay, it goes down to a 6. And the square root of 2, it goes down to a 1/2. Okay, so, and then the 1/2 becomes -1. So how are they related? What's the relationship? So the only thing that I can kind of give you as a hint is, I mean, fractions and square roots, these are not very easy to deal with. So I would kind of focus on these ones here, like the 6 and 64, and then the 3 and with the 8. So I'm just going to use a little scratch paper. Now remember, anything that we do, whatever the rule is, it has to work for all of them. So it can't just work for one. And I'm going to kind of switch it around. Instead of like starting with our input, which is 8, I'm just going to think about 3. And how did that, if we go the other way around, which from last week we learned about inverses. It's like when you switch your X and Y. What would happen if we switch our X and Y? Would that help figure out how we got to these numbers? Okay, so what could we fill in? Any operation, so like exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Any of those operations could we do to the number 3 to get an 8? Or could we do to a 6 to get a 64? And so I want you to think outside the box a little bit, and it's not multiplication, it's not division. And remember, it has to work for both of them. So like if you said, oh, it's like 2. Well, 3 times 2 is not 8, and 6 times 2 is not 64. So it has to work on both. And the only other sort of operation I mentioned was, in the order of operations, was our E for exponent. So think of the 3 and the 6 as an exponent. What would the base have to be to get, let's say, 8? What would the base have to be for the 6, if that's an exponent, to get 64? I'm just going to try 3. Oh, maybe I'll use pencil. What is 3 to the 3rd power? Well, that's 3 times 3 times 3, so that's actually 27, so a little bit too big. Okay, so then I try 2. 2 to the 3rd, does that equal 8? Well, yes, because 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2. Okay, so we have to double check. Is 2 to the 6th power equal to 64? So that is also true, because if we did 3 2s, we know that that's 8. And if I did a whole nother set of 2s, that's another 8. And then 8 times 8 is 64. All right, so we kind of figured it out that when you put the 2 as a base and then you raise it to that number, that is how you get your input. So we're going to fill out the rest of it. Okay, so I have an orange pen here, and what I'd like you to do is show some work. So on the side, right here, I'm just going to go like 2 to the 3rd power equals 8. And then here I have to go 2 to the what power equals 32. So that's sort of like what we're trying to figure out. This part is your g of x. I think I'm just going to call it y. It's a little easier to write it. So 2 to the what power equals 32. I'd prefer you kind of do that in your head, but if you want your calculator, you can just kind of play around. So like, let's say you did 2 to the 4th power, 16, 2 to the 5th power, oh, there it is. So what must have been the output for that row? We're looking for this number, which is 5. So the 2 is the base that's happening to each of these outputs to get your input. So we're kind of having to go backwards to get the solutions here. And let's just verify it for even the one that they already did. So 2 to the -1 power. How does that equal 1/2? Well, we already know that negative exponents don't mean negative answers. They just mean that you have to like flip it. So this would be the same thing as 1 over 2 to the +1, which confirms it's 1/2. Okay, so this one would have to be 2 to the what power equals 1. Well, if I have a 2, that's a bigger number. How am I going to make it drop down to a 1? So hopefully you kind of remember that there is a special case where whenever the exponent is 0, doesn't matter what the base is, the base could be 1,000,000 to the 0 power, and it'll still equal 1. So this one is just kind of more intuitive if you remember that anything to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, then let's do 16. So 2 to the what power equals 16. So far these ones have nice answers. We're going to get down to some more complicated ones here. So that would be 2 to the 4th power. And then 2 to the what power equals 4. So hopefully you put 2. Okay, now for this next one, we haven't really learned how to do this yet. So it would be like 2 to the what power is equal to 3. So I'm going to skip that. I'll come back to that one. 2 to the what power, well, we already know the answer. It's 2 to the 6th power is equal to 64. 2 to the what is equal to 2. So that would be 2 to the 1, right? And then 2 to the what power equals 0. I'm going to hold off on that one as well. And, well, by the way, think about a number for y, like 2 to the what power, maybe 5, or maybe -5, or maybe 0.1. No matter what, there is absolutely no way that you can raise a power to some number and have it come out to equal 0. So this one, if you'd like, we can just put that in now. That's a special case. It is undefined. It's just not possible. On a graph, you would see this as approaching 0, but it's going to form an asymptote. It would never actually touch 0. Not possible. Okay, then we have 0.25. Okay, well, that's the same thing as 1/4. So 2 to the what power equals 1/4. Well, 1/4, you can recognize that as like 4 is the same thing as 2 to the second power. And 1/2 to the second is the same thing as 2 to the negative 2. So therefore we have our answer that that missing exponent for the y, it was -2. Okay, then we're going to plug in -1, so like 2 to the what equals -1. And then we have, well, the answer's already here, so this is saying 2 to the 1/2 power. And this makes sense whenever we did this earlier in the year. When you convert a fractional exponent into a radical form, you take the numerator, and so it'd be like 2 to the 1, and then the index is going to be the denominator, and there's like an invisible 2 here. So that's why the answer was 1/2. Okay, and then there's 0.2. So this is like 2 to the what equals 0.2. So I'm going to hold off on that because I'm going to need a calculator. And then same thing, 1/8. I want you to treat it like we did the one up here for 1/4. So 2 to the what equals 1/8. 1/8, if you recognize the 8 is the same thing as up here. It's the same thing as 2 to the 3rd power. Well, 2 to the 3rd, if we want to convert it back to a negative exponent, would be 2 to the negative 3rd power. So therefore, it must have been -3 was our exponent for that solution. Okay, so now what we have to do is figure out how to figure out those empty sets up here. I'm going to put a box around them. I'm going to need to show work. I'll do that down below, and this one here. Okay, so I'm going to use the first example at the top, the one with 8 and 3 as our pair, our coordinates, to illustrate how we're going to figure out these ones. And I'm just going to say a little preface that this is a very hard concept. I'm not particularly fond of how the book introduces this relationship, but I promise to give you more notes later that will kind of help clarify this. So this is more of just like an exploration classwork. It's not that you have to have it mastered at this point. Okay, so for 2 to the 3rd equals 8. I'm just going to rewrite it as the 2 to the g of x power equals x. So this is kind of like our equation. Okay, but in math we have multiple ways that we can write functions, or we can manipulate equations that mean the same thing, but we're going to use it to our advantage. So this is where a logarithm comes handy. And what that would do is, so it says 2 to the 3rd power. So this 2 to the 3rd equals 8. It's going to convert in a logarithmic form. It's going to convert to writing it as, it's called log base 2, because that was our base. And we switch these around. So it's log base 2 of the answer, which is 8, and then it equals our exponent over here. So what this is saying is that if you have 2 and you're going to raise it to the 3rd power, then it's going to equal the 8. So since we already know all the x values, basically all we would have to do is input those, not the actual number 8, but input those values for the ones that we're still missing. And on your calculator, there is a log button. So I think it's our first time using the log button, so it's right here. Oops, I'll move that. Oh, the log button's right here.